Hello and welcome to the Game Changer series for Global Entrepreneurship Week. I'm delighted today to be speaking with Lena Kay, who is a confidence coach who helps people with their mindset. So Lena, welcome to the interview and thank you for agreeing to share your expertise with people who are listening as part of Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Thank you. Thanks, Laura. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, and it's actually my title has evolved to transformation coach. So confidence is part of that, absolutely. But yeah, I've changed from confidence coach, calling myself confidence coach, to transformation coach. You know, potatoes, potatoes, but you know, everyone likes a label, but I feel like that label kind of suits what I do a lot better.
So helping people to transform, and I think one of the things that most people that I've spoken with as this interview series has gone on is entrepreneurship and creating a business is one of the biggest transformations that you're going to go through in your life if you choose to accept the challenge. How do you support people with that?
Well, everyone is so different, but the one thing that we all have in common is that in terms of transformation, especially if the person's a business owner, is continuous. Like, we have to, in order to get what we want, we have to transform and become that person first that can achieve that. So in order for us to grow our business, in order for us to, you know, whether it's be the best partner in a relationship, whatever it is, it's each person is so individual. So I'm very, in terms of my coaching style, I tend to be more intuitive as to which tools I use with each person. There's obviously different structures and processes, but it really depends on the individual and what is aligned with who they are. One thing I learned, I used to run a sales and business development company, and interesting because we used to use the same processes with every business. Now, some businesses thrive, other businesses, they still would stay frozen. And what's the difference? And I realized, you know what, it's not the process, it's that sometimes the process is not right for the person. That's where the business didn't see any results, because they would do the same thing, take the same action. So for me, it's important to get into the core of the person, into their mindset, into their heart, and just to raise the levels of awareness, because unless our levels of awareness is raised, then we don't know what it is. And usually it's ourselves, it's something within ourselves that we need to overcome. Not so much apply anything from the external. So for me, I'm very good at sort of going in the core of someone and getting out everything, bringing everything out on the table so we can just look at it from a different perspective.
And I think that's something that has to be done, because I think whether you're just beginning your journey or whether you're thinking about leaving, if you like, the safe world of salaries and jobs to start a business, what you need to absolutely implicitly understand is your strengths and your weaknesses, your attributes that you bring, but also the slightly unconscious side, that what's driving that, what's driving the things that work for you and also the things that don't work for you.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, in terms of awareness, you can only raise your awareness in two ways. One of them is through life experience. If life experience creates an impact on you where your awareness is changed. So for example, you know, the typical, it's kind of saying that we've probably heard about, the guy, I think it was actually even an example of Stephen Covey's book, when he's on the train and his kids are going crazy. This father's letting his kids go crazy on the train, and he's thinking, why isn't he controlling his kids? And then he speaks to the dad, and the dad says that they've just come back from the hospital and their mum's just died.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. you know, and it's like that all of a sudden the perspective goes from being angry, like why are these kids out of control, to having, you know, where your heart just goes out to them and you want to
Yeah.
help them. And, you know, so in terms of awareness, only life experience or having a coach or a mentor can help you to do that.
Mm.
So that's why it's so important that a role of a coach or a mentor, because especially when, if you know, this entrepreneur journey, it's a lot of the time the battle is within ourselves, within our own minds.
Mm.
We need to increase our levels of, you know, just our emotional intelligence, our resilience, our confidence, because you can know your field like 110%, and then you enter the business world and all of a sudden there's certain things you don't know and it can affect your confidence. It might be something to do with marketing or sales pitch or your process, or just something that, you know, that is different to your profession,
Mm.
and then that can knock you off your confidence. So it's like, you know, it's just that constant just journey of just self-awareness. For me, it's just so key, just for us to always be aware of ourselves, like you said, of our weaknesses, our strengths, what we need to improve, what we need to, you know, what's good, what we're good at.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I don't think, you know, most people need to know necessarily all of those business skills. You can run a business without knowing all of those things, but if you have the self-awareness and the ability to, I guess, accept and drop the ego and accept that you might need to appoint a financial director who's got more financial experience than you, or an advisor to do something else, or somebody else to take care of your branding and marketing. You know, understand the things that you're good at rather than trying to master everything and be mediocre at everything rather than actually excellent at the things you're born to be excellent to do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And also it's interesting at the same time, you know, when you enter the coaching kind of world, you see that everyone seems to know the answer to something, especially when it comes to business. You know, 10 different business coaches, they offer 10 different kind of solutions and processes. And one thing I've realized is actually, if you have enough self-awareness and enough confidence in yourself, you just learn through trial
Mm.
and error, because the most successful people are the ones who did not follow the rule book. They didn't follow someone else's process. They just find out what works for them. And, you know, the most successful people, I mean, the most successful coaches wouldn't pass the standard coaching course or diploma, do you know what I mean? Because they go out of completely off the common road, and they find themselves somewhere where actually they're creating enormous results just doing things in their own way. And I think sometimes when people just enter business, the business world, they do seek to know, how is this done, how is that done, and just do it and try it and find out. And like you said, you know, don't try and do everything. Sometimes it's best to you know, like for example, like I'm not going to build my own website when I can get someone else who's a professional that can do it, because, you know, they've got years of expertise, and instead of me, you know, pulling out my hair on WordPress and getting emotional at midnight, which is all, you know, I've gone through getting emotional over like WordPress because I don't know what widget I need for the thing that I need. You know, someone else, they can save you a lot of time. So for me, anything that can save you time in your business is a good thing, because
Mm.
time is the most valuable asset we've got. So yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Mhm. So tell us, what prompted you to decide to leave, if you like, the world of work? Because I know, like me, you've had the corporate experience, you've been there, you've done that. What prompted you to leave and decide to forge your own path?
Okay, so my situation, when I was in the corporate world, I was doing well on the outside, but I actually, this was when I was in my 20s. You know, I was doing business banking for RBS and NatWest, and And that's when I felt ill, brain tumor, depression, being overweight, having anxiety problems, being homeless. So my life changed very quickly, and I was, very in a very contrasted world, living in the YMCA but still working at the bank. So it was really quite crazy, and then I end up on benefits. So coming out of that, kind of coaching myself back to wellness again, transforming my health, my life, transforming other people's, doing a lot of studying, because when you're on benefits, I decided not to watch TV, not to be one of those people that just watches TV and just consumes. I wanted to create, so as I was getting myself better, I educated myself. And when I look back, as much as I didn't enjoy being on benefits, because I'd always worked since I got my national insurance number when I was 15, I've always worked. So for me to be on benefits, that time that I had was so valuable because I invested into myself, into my self-education,
And that's,
coming out of that. Yes, go on, sorry.
I was going to say, that's a really interesting thing because, as you said, you've always worked, and it's that thing of self-perception and how you see yourself. And I guess almost from where you'd been, it's almost that is we go through life, don't we? And people don't take risks because they think, what is the worst thing that can happen? And it's almost like I heard it there. For you, that was almost the worst thing that could happen was to be left without that security.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And especially because, when I used to have a big mouth when I was working at the bank. I used to think, why is all my tax money going to these people on benefits? They need to just get, I was one of those people, and then I end up being one of those people that's on benefits. And it was just, it plays a lot on your mind and your self-perception. And when I years down the line, when I got myself better, got off the medication, healed my body completely organically, helped so many other people, and shared the information of them which is, all down to your awareness and applying yourself and maximizing your potential as a human being to, as big as you can. I came off benefits and went straight into self-employment, which is really hard. So what I'd done was I was, signed off benefits, signed on as self-employed, and then I contracted into a sales and business development company in Waterloo, because I thought, well, I'm going to be self-employed, but I don't know anything to do with business. And I'd always said to myself, I'm not going to go back into a 9-to-5. I'm going to just, work and hustle my way. But when this opportunity came about, something just said to me, you know what, take this opportunity. And it was for a PA role in a sales and business development company. But I thought, do you know what? As a PA, I'm going to know all the ins and outs of how a business is constructed, how, all the businessy side of things that I didn't really know. And 6 months down the line, I got promoted to managing director. So I went from being a PA to being head of marketing operations, to being, just promotion after promotion. Within 6 months, the owner was like, look, here you go, managing director. And that took up, a lot of time. But on the side, I was building my coaching business. So I had clients on the side. And then what happened was the whole team was made redundant. No notice, and because we're all self-employed, contracted, there's no, 3 months notice, 1 month. No, it was, in a week and a half, not the whole everyone's gone. Okay, fine. So then my option was either I get maybe a part-time job or another full-time job, or I just go hard on my business. And I decided that the second one is more me. I had a couple of clients, I went all in on and applied everything that I knew from the coaching and from the sales business development company, and I've just been able to maintain and actually create profit as well in my business without having to go back into work. But it was, it was the mental click, because I remember my partner saying to me months before that happened, why don't you just, what you're doing for this business, do it for yourself, and I was like, yeah, I will, but I'm just gonna, save some money so that I've got money for my business. And it was, just trying to play it safe, like you said, the illusion of security.
Mm,
I always say to people, having a job having a job security. It doesn't even make sense if you think about it, because your future is in somebody else's hands.
mhm.
At least if you have your own business, you work for yourself, that your future's in your own hands. Whether you're making profit, making loss, whatever's going on in your business, you have the ability to change it. And unless you fire yourself, no one is going to just do that to you. And I decided, you know what, I'm not going to put myself in that situation again, where my time I invest in somebody else. I'm just going to invest it in myself. And sometimes, like, some people call it airy fairy, but I call it being very intuitive. And that intuition can take you places, wonderful places. And for me, it's just month by month, just following my intuition, and the work keeps coming in. And it's being comfortable knowing that you don't know next month if you're going to create the same income as this month. You don't know, especially in the beginning stages, but it's the having the faith in what you're doing, and if your purpose for your work. I think sometimes some jobs, if you're just doing it for the money, then good luck to you, but I don't really encourage people to do that. I think if you're doing something from the heart, then that gives you a different kind of drive. So even if you're making less one month, more another, you keep going because you see the bigger picture. You're playing the long-term game, as they say. You're not just doing it for short-term, results. And so that's been my transition. And it's wonderful to, yes, you work more hours because you're working for yourself, but at least that's for you. It's not for somebody else. And you get to control your own time, when you wake up, when you go to sleep. If you want to fit in something during the day, if you want to, you can fit in time with your family. It's just, for me, it's it's a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth it. And yeah, that's just been kind of my transition, and how, especially, do you know what, honestly, Laura, especially when in that job, when you sacrifice 70 hours a week, certain weeks I used to do over 70, 80 hours,
Mhm.
to just be let go as if, like, your time, your loyalty, everything, it didn't mean anything. And the other girls, I mean, for me it's different. I had my own business. The other girls that were contracted in the team, they don't have their own business. They had to go and look for another job, and that it was absolutely no notice at all. And I just thought, you know what, yeah, this working is not really going to cut it. I'm just going to have to go hard, go hard and go all in on myself.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I was kind of brought up with the mindset that, you work for yourself, PLC, at the end of the
Mm,
day. Even when you're working for an employer, at the end of the day, you're selling your skills, you're trading your time for that. So it's interesting to see the different perspectives that people have. But I think the thing also that's clear is actually, when people get really clear on what they want, is when they are faced with, it's when life is not comfortable. That's what creates growth. It's when we're faced with the big things, whether that is bereavement, whether it's illness, whether it is something like a job loss or other changes that happen within life and relationships, is often when people critically really take that deep, hard look at, are they actually doing what they really want to do in life?
mm,
Are they
yeah.
allowing their talents to flourish? And, there's a lot of people, I think there's two types of entrepreneur. There's entrepreneurs who have always been entrepreneurs from the word go. And then there's people who create businesses because they've really been through the fire in terms of life experience, and realised that actually they've always had this dream. Life is a little bit too short, and if they've got to make it a reality, then they need to make change. And sometimes that might involve, because it sounds to me like the role you had in the marketing agency, it served a purpose because it was a transitional role that was almost there for you,
Oh,
as
yeah.
a way of apprenticing and learning those skills that were needed. So even when situations might not seem to be the best, that there is always something that you're building on and learning on. And I think, people have a lot to learn from you in terms of that mindset for looking for where the opportunity is.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's always opportunity, and it's so interesting. Like, life will show you opportunities in relation to your beliefs. If you feel like there are no opportunities, no jobs, or no clients available, life will give you exactly that. But if you feel like there's more than enough opportunity, there's more than enough money, there's more than enough clients for everyone in London, there's more than enough of everything, that the next opportunity is right in front of your face or around the corner, it just creates a different kind of mindset, because the worst thing you can do is live out of fear. Being uncomfortable is, like you said, absolutely, that role served me so much. And it is through those dark times, challenging times, that you get to face yourself, and that's our biggest real obstacles. It's not ever, sometimes we think it's the perception of the outside obstacles, but really it's about ourselves.
Yeah.
And and just always kind of not, I think the average mindset is just to respond to what we see, respond to our external environments and circumstances, and when people do that, they just end up living very average lives. I mean, look at Donald Trump was elected. People that teach emotional intelligence and resilience, I saw them getting very emotional on social media, and I was thinking, wow, nobody can control your emotions unless you let them. Nobody can control your future. Keep doing what you were doing before he was elected. What's the, it's very, very interesting, but it's definitely through those times that you get to know yourself, and it's about just being very, very honest with yourself. But at the same time, not to be negative. People think being honest with yourself, no, it's not. It's not, because most of the time there's more well-being in your life than you ever even pay attention to. I was speaking to a lady just the other night, and she'd had to close her business down, this coffee shop, and she was really, sometimes I don't know if it's a female thing or not, but I think definitely we can get confused with our business and us. Like, our business is a separate entity, and when we can treat it like that, I think sometimes we can make more objective, better decisions. But when we treat it as us, and I think her closing the business, she kind of felt that she was a failure, and it affected her. And I just said to her, okay, tell me what's going well. Okay, that's what's going fine, but she's not giving herself props to the fact that as a single mom, she opened the business. She went for a year. I said, a year? Like, it doesn't, my dad opened a takeaway shop, and he ended up having two, but when he first opened it, he opened it on debt. He borrowed so much money, him and his business partner, from so many different friends around the world, just to be able to open the business. They were in debt for years until they actually created profit, So sometimes people get in business, oh great, I'm going to make my own money. It's not always like that. You have to be willing to, sometimes depending on the industry as well, you're not going to see profit straight away. But with her, to say to her, what's going well? And okay, well, she's met the love of her life. Oh, fantastic. What else? She's got more of her time back. What else? She's done this with her daughter. What else? Oh, her health is, she had so many things going well for her. And just that change in perspective, she went from feeling really down to feeling really ecstatic about where she's at in her life, and actually that she's quite relieved that the shop's closed, and she's got her time, and she's got more peace. And wow, it just, the change of perspective, and just in people just being like, you know what, the sun came out today, the earth is spinning, we were inhaling this thing called oxygen or air that we can't even see, but that our whole life depends upon. Things are actually pretty good. All our organs are working. We don't have to press any buttons or anything to make sure that our body enough functions properly. There's so much going well.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? And if we just look at our business in the same way, that look, today, if your business is not where you want it to be, it doesn't mean that's where tomorrow things can change. Tomorrow you could land 3 new clients, and then all of a sudden things are different. So it's just keeping an optimistic mindset in all adversity.
And you are absolutely right, because I see so many people when they want to come out and they start a business, oh, well, I need this and I can't do this if I don't have a website and this, that and the other. And I tell you, Lena, I'm sat at the moment looking at possibly one of the oldest pieces of sales technology, and that's called the phone book.
So true.
know,
So
there
true.
are things, and the access to resources that we have now, I firmly believe it's one of the best times for people who do want to create a business. Now is one of the best times to do it. The access that people have globally to experts, the amount of resources that are out there to support people actually, hopefully the aim of these talks is to inspire people to go away and to think about what it is that they really want to achieve and the difference they want to make. And, that might be as an entrepreneur or creating a business. It could be in support of the business that you're working for now. But I think thank you so much for sharing with us today, because I think there is a lot there and a lot of hope for people who might be going through, what are challenging times at the moment. I think the message that I take from what you've shared with us today is really think about what you want and master your destiny, and then you put the discipline in, you put the work in.
It is absolutely, absolutely, and like you said, you don't need the website. You don't need, like my partner made 6 figures. He created a 6-figure business in 3 months with no website, just social media, just adding massive value, just being everywhere on social media. There are branding companies that don't even have a website because their clients don't care about the website. Does that make sense? They know their audience, so don't feel like you have to copy people and you need this and you need that. You just need yourself and your mind right, and a strong enough kind of vision and purpose, and you just keep going. You just go forward towards it, and don't let fear stop you, or the perception of lack in anything, because there's more than enough of everything. And even through any times, through the recession, more millionaires are made than any other time. So, difficult times, it just creates more opportunity for you to be the person that says, actually, through this difficult time, I'm the one that's going to thrive. I don't care how I do it. I just know that I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.